the first half of my childhood, I was raised with the mindset that I must be the best so others will look up to me. I worked extra hard on every assignment I was given, but whenever I failed one test or assignment, my peers made me feel like a failure no matter how good my grade was. And then when I moved to America and got older, I eventually realized that no one, not even the people I look up to, are perfect. I only wish that my elders told me of this insight, and maybe then I would have not told myself I was a failure all these years. Today we'll learn about perfectionism because it affects all of us, and we have to stop thinking that way. First, we'll hear a story about the problem of perfectionism. Second, we'll hear a story about the cause of perfectionism. And third, we'll hear a story about the solution for perfectionism. According to the Harvard Summer School, 85% of young adults between the ages of 16 to 25 experience perfectionist tendencies, especially within the academic field. While striving for high standards may seem advantageous, perfectionism often brings a ton of downsides. A study between these tendencies can lead to dissatisfaction and disappointment, a negative impact on relationships, and a longer time to complete projects. This constant pressure to meet impossible standards can also result in mental issues such as anxiety and depression. A study between 1989 and 2016 found that perfectionism rose over the last few decades in college students, which was caused by societal pressures. Perfectionism in people can spark worry about almost anything that they work on. This type of mindset makes them overtly aware of their flaws in their work, sparking worry and frustration over their efforts. In a society that increasingly equates worth with achievement and success, people would be less willing to take any risks whatsoever because it leads to a lot of humiliation, creating multiple negative consequences like high anxiety, a lot less innovation, and the loss of our individuality. Now that we've heard a story about the problem of perfectionism, let's now hear a story about the cause of perfectionism. According to Medium.com, perfectionism generally maintains a very positive connotation in society. A good drive to do one's best or deliver the best possible job. Gained insight allows people to invite perfectionism without realizing its potential downsides. In the perfectionists who pursue high standards, perfectionism is a latent burden that may be hidden from them or even denied. Cultural norms further complicate the issue, discouraging individuals from questioning these standards or changing behaviors. Many feel a social obligation to fulfill these expectations set forth by widely accepted norms, making the ability to step back and question the perfectionist mindset quite difficult. Efforts at relieving perfectionistic pressures have sometimes tended to backfire. The use of participation trophies and the emphasis on meritocracies set unrealistic benchmarks of success for often pressured parents and pressured-filled youngsters. Rather than alleviate perfectionistic pressures, these measures may inadvertently reinforce the belief that everyone should be exceptional. They're raising expectations rather than easing them. As a result, individuals are adapting not by reducing perfectionism, but by attempting to meet even higher standards, a situation that compounds the pressure on both individuals and their families. Social media, while a major contributor to perfectionism, also allows people to find support and company in shared struggles. Communities and influencers within these communities have emerged to shine light on being authentic over perfect. Social media has become an outlet for people to question ideals grown up with and strive toward balance between self-image and success. But the emergence of social media has also taken the level of reach and perception of perfectionism to an extreme never seen before. This incessant coverage of idealized, curated images online makes perfectionism almost inescapable. It is intricately woven into our daily life and self-concept. This shift has created a pervasive culture wherein perfectionism isn't just tolerated, but has also deeply grown embedded within how people regard themselves and their achievements. Now that we've heard a story about the cause of perfectionism, we'll now hear a story about the solution for perfectionism. WebMD.com tells us that we address our ignorance of perfectionism through education. If we can challenge the myths of perfectionism, such as perfectionism leads to success, which it doesn't, the people will learn more about it. We as a society can start to address the complacency by acknowledging its presence in all of us. Redefine the word success, not to only include our achievements, but the personal growth we gain from it. We can then start to focus not on the results we've labored over, but on the efforts we exert ourselves with. Perfectionists often set very high standards for themselves, which often lead to burnout, stress, and anxiety. To combat this, we can embrace the fact that no person on this planet is perfect. We can promote self-compassion, have people treat themselves as they would treat a friend in need. We don't need to put ourselves down when something goes wrong. In the past, we have attempted to address perfectionism, and we actually did partially succeed. Books such as The Gifts of Imperfection helped people embrace their mistakes and vulnerability. Different types of therapies, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, helps people see the fallacies that is perfectionism. Unfortunately, our attempts fell short, but we've made much more progress than before. Different individuals can take my suggestions and use it to their own benefit. Read books pertaining to perfectionism to deepen your understanding. Treat yourself as you would treat others in your position. We all should be proud of how far we've come, and don't let other people tell you otherwise. First, we heard a story about the problem of perfectionism. Then we heard a story about the cause of perfectionism. And finally, we heard a story about the solution of perfectionism. Today, we learned about the problem of perfectionism because it affects all of us when we have to stop thinking that way. Known for dying at such a young age, pursuing perfection in his music, legendary Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain once said, "I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I am not." Thank you.